What first captured your historical imagination?
What's one book that changed your life?
What's a common misconception about your topic?
How do you deal with gaps in the sources?
Why does telling stories about the past matter?
One of my favorite books is actually a classic from the 19th century. It's an essay by Friedrich Nietzsche on what he calls the advantages and disadvantages of history for humans. And it is perhaps one of the most challenging texts for historians because it challenges the very foundations of our work. It raises the question of why do we study history at all? Can the past actually get into the way of us as living beings? And of course, as historians, I object to many of his arguments, but I also feel that this process of reflecting on what you do and why you do it is hugely important.
A book that I would say really changed my life and led me to the career I'm in today is a children's book called Taken by Vikings by an author called Toril Torstad Havgir. It was a book that I read when I was about 10 as a child. It's a historical novel about children who were taken as slaves by Vikings. Very soon after that, I went to see the Viking ships in Oslo on a school trip. And there was something about that history that was in the novel connected to these great big real artifacts, to the Viking ships that those imaginary children would likely have traveled on. That completely sets my imagination alight.
Virginia Woolf wrote this amazing article on being ill, and it's about how illness is this sort of central and universal experience of the human condition. However, we don't have the kind of sonnets and poetry and novels written to this experience of being ill that we do for the great battles. And this has really inspired my own work because I'm interested in how these experiences with illness and sickness shape all of us, shape our self-identity, shape how we relate to other people, and shape how we relate to the world around us.
When I was in primary school and my teacher was telling us history as a story rather than having us learn from a book, and listening to her on this hot afternoon in Martinique, I was transported to a completely different place, and I felt at that moment the power of imagining the past and relating it to the present, and also realize that history is always about a good story.